it's chamber
Oh, it talks
meeting
now.
Monday. I know it does. This is the new thing. I don't know. Thank you very much. Oh, start over. Welcome everyone to chamber. It's June 7th, I think. I lose track of days anymore. I know it's a Monday, so welcome. Kelly couldn't make it today. She's not feeling real hot, so anyway, you get me for a little bit. So, Mike, can you lead us in the pledge, please?
Yes, I will. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you. So do we have any new members or guests on? I can't see everybody's faces, so let's see. Anybody new? Oh, all these old faces. I mean, seasoned faces, let's put it that way. And some new faces. Cameron, how are you? Okay, well, no newbies, so we'll keep going. So Renee, give us lots of announcements. What's happening?
Yes, I have quite a few. Okay, so our board election process is completed. Thank you everybody who voted. Kristen Chambers from Sequoia Gas and Kim Brown from Cornerstone Realty were elected by the membership, and Amber Woodward will be board appointed, as we have 3 vacancies on our board. So congratulations to all 3 of them. We will officially present the results at an upcoming in-person meeting whenever that happens. We're hoping for the last Monday in July to have an in-person meeting, and at the Monday Club, when we have 10% of our membership present, we will ratify the results to our membership. So you'll hear this news again in a couple of weeks. The winners of our Operation Celebrate Senior Portrait Window Decorating Contest are Double D came in first place, Green's Pharmacy came in second, and JH and Company came in third. They'll receive a nice little thank you gift from the chamber for their participation. And we want to say a special thank you to all 25 businesses who decorated their windows in support of our seniors. That was very much appreciated. I know the kids love it. There is a city council meeting tonight. Merritt will have more information on that. The Fortuna Chambers Tourism and Marketing Committee does have an exciting citywide project that we were asking the council to help us fund. Jen Brown and Merritt will be presenting that, and I will be doing also a little presentation at the end. We're also asking for direct funding for the chamber to help us recover from the pandemic and bring back some of our programs that have been postponed, like State of the City and Leadership Fortuna and others. We're hoping to bring some new programs to the city, as well as workforce training for our employers. Let's see, tomorrow, June 8th, we have an ambassador meeting. It's a lunch. We'll meet at Lost Cause at 11:30, 11:45-ish. I think they need to seat us a little later. So if you show up later, you're fine. Anybody is welcome to join that if you're curious about what it means to be an ambassador, or you just want to have lunch with some really fun people. You're welcome. Just let us know and we'll squeeze in a seat for you. Next Wednesday, the 16th, is our first in-person mixer at Wild Souls Ranch. That's our first in-person mixer since January of 2020, when Humboldt Equity was our January mixer host at that point. That'll be from 5:30 to 7. Just call us for the address. They're very careful not to post their physical address too often, because to keep the privacy of their clients. So just let us know if you're not sure where it is. We can tell you over the phone. Also, rodeo signups are live on a Google Doc. It was in our email today. If you want to grab some of your coworkers and take a shift and have some fun dispensing beer, taking tickets and selling tickets, those are the positions that are available Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's the week of rodeo. So that'll be the 16th, 17th, and 18th if my brain is working properly. Don't forget, hats are also available for the rodeo. You can get those at Green's Pharmacy, Sequoia Gas at their main office, and then the gas station, Fortuna Ace Hardware, and Wild Cactus Clothing. They're $20. Support the rodeo and get your commemorative 100th anniversary hat. And then I'm not quite sure what's happening with the rodeo book. Maybe Mike Johnson knows, because I know he deals with the
Cameron
details,
does.
you know?
Cameron's a guy to
Or
ask.
Cameron, anybody?
It's going to be ready to go. They're just finishing up. It's with the editor as we speak. And so I don't have a specific date at the moment as far as when they will be available for purchase, but they'll definitely be available for purchase before the rodeo. And we'll keep you posted as far as when people can go ahead and buy those and how they can go ahead about buying those. I'm sure at least they'll be able to stop by the museum and purchase a copy. So
That's all I had, Becky. Back to you.
Anything on our Chile passport
No.
on Chile week? Did you say something or was I spacing it?
You were just super excited for me to say it, apparently.
Yes, I am.
We are shifting our chili cook-off. We are not doing the downtown version. We are creating a restaurant contest to help our eateries. We have 11 confirmed yeses, I believe. Some will be very interesting, and I'm very excited to see what concoctions they come up with. It doesn't have to be physical chili, like bean and meat chili. It can be chili flavored, so like a chili spice, things like that. So we're leaving it kind of open to interpretation. The restaurant will decide what they want to make. They'll let us know. We'll put the passport in the rodeo guide that was graciously offered by Sequoia Gas and the rodeo board. So thank you for that. And then people will take their passport to the restaurant, eat the item, get a stamp from the restaurant, and then they can write in their favorite dish at the bottom, and we'll use those for public votes. And each stamp will earn you one entry into a random drawing for $50. And I think we'll probably have 10 or 12 drawings. It just kind of depends how the costs shake out. And it's all sponsored by Redwood Capital Bank. So they're coming up with the prize money, and we'll have a really nifty trophy to give to the winning restaurant. So we're excited. And it's just a
Very
gift
fun.
back to the community. It's not a fundraiser for us. We're not going to make any money off of it. It's just, we want to support our community and our restaurants and have some fun and chili.
And kind of keep the tradition alive somewhat. So
Yeah,
that's very fun. That's very cool. So
yeah, we're excited.
yeah, that's going to be here before you know it. So
I know.
Merritt, do you have a city council tonight? City council meeting?
Yes, we do, 6 o'clock. And for the time being, we're still doing our council members on Zoom. So aside from our routine matters, we have a presentation, much like the one that was given to the chamber from Garrett Gronowski with Bird Scooters. So the council will get to have a look and a listen at the Bird Scooter thing. And then we will get to decide whether or not that's something we want to proceed with. So that should be interesting to see how the public views that. We have a couple of discussion items, as Renee mentioned. Not only will we be joined by the chamber to talk about a funding request, but also the retail strategies bit of work that the Tourism and Marketing Committee is proceeding with. So the council will be able to discuss that. We'll be joined by FBID, who will be presenting what their accomplishments have been, some of the challenges, and how they're finding ways to meet some of those challenges in their presentation as well. So it was coincidence, but we'll have both the chamber and FBID on this agenda, right? One after another. We have our business items. The first one is to reclassify our existing deputy city engineer to our city engineer. Brendan Bird, our deputy city engineer, has been doing a great job, and it's time to kick off the training wheels for him and give him the full responsibility. And the part I really like about that is it'll let me focus on other things like economic development, and I have less of a time commitment to the engineering side of things. I'll still be involved, but more in just a general oversight capacity. We will be adopting the fiscal year budget. That's pretty big. The council's seen it a couple of times. There might be a few changes, but generally what the council has seen at the last couple of meetings. So that'll be a good milestone to have our budget again completed before the end of the fiscal year. Will be, along with that comes there's separate items, but related to the budget, the full-time and part-time pay rate schedules, the capital improvement program, those will be approved also as separate items as part of the budget. Then we have a construction contract for the replacement of one of our drinking water wells, which we were seeing diminished capacity, not because there's a lack of water, but as wells get older and you start to see the substrate in the screens and things go bad. And so we'll be placing a new well. So there's an award of contract to a well driller. We have also a professional services contract for doing some planning for the mill site that is being recommended to award to Plan West Partners. And so everybody asks, well, why are you putting, it does focus on, it's a state grant. It's funded by a LEAP grant by the state to look at housing. But the thing to keep in mind is we're not just looking at the mill site proper owned by Palco. The mill site as defined in the general plan includes areas outside of the mill site that are all classified as a mill district. So that will be on the agenda. Liz Shorier, Deputy Director of Community Development, will be presenting that. And we have a closed session for me to update the council on a real estate negotiation for some land we're looking at for a park and for wastewater. So that is what is on the agenda tonight. It's a jam-packed meeting, and I'd encourage everybody to come and to tell your friends.
It will be the place to be. Is that it?
That's
Or
right.
to listen, one or the other. So, okay. Well, let's hopefully we can get back in person with council meetings soon. So, okay. Any questions on that? Cameron, tell us about your event, Pastels.
Yes, thank you. Renee, can I share my screen and just pull up the flyer if that's okay?
Yep, hold on, let me get you sharing ability. Well, please. Okay, you should be good to go.
All right, thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right, hopefully everybody can see that. So we're having a Pastels in the Park event. I was reached out by First Five of Humboldt, and they're the local jurisdiction for First Five, which is a program that nurtures newborns to 5-year-olds here throughout the state. And they have been wanting to do something, a local art program. So they reached out to me. They had a grant. And so I said, I've had this Pastels in the Park idea in my head for quite some time. And so now there was a source to fund it. So here we go. And we did have an opening. I know it's somewhat short notice, but Saturday, June 19th, we're going to be hosting this. It's going to be from 10 to noon. So it's just a short period of time. It's going to be at Newburgh Park, and we're going to utilize the large width sidewalk that goes around the main soccer field. And each participant is going to only pay $50, and proceeds will benefit Fortuna Parks and Rec. And it's $50 per square, and the square is about a 10 by 10. If someone wants to make a pastel or make a piece of artwork that large, that's up to them. We ordered the pastel kit, so each participant will get their own pastel kit provided by us. It's a chalk pastel. And at least Renee and myself right now are judges for that. And we will be giving out prizes to the top 3 most creative pastels. And I'm relying on local businesses to help pitch in some prizes so that we can give them a kind of a local prize basket full of a bunch of goodies. So if you all can help us put the word out, not only about the event, but to the businesses to partake, is a good opportunity for businesses to market their businesses, because we're going to leave those pastels. We're going to turn off the irrigation and leave those pastels up for as long as they look decent enough. So when people are walking the park, they're going to see those. So it's a perfect opportunity to advertise your local business as well. So help us get the word out there if you can. Deadline to register is next Thursday, the 17th by 4 p.m. There's a simple registration form. People can just swing by the office, basically give us their name and their contact info, pay their $50, and then we'll give them the pastels when we get there on Saturday. So Parks office is open Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30, or they can give us a call at 725-7620 if they have any questions. And yeah, good benefit, good artistic, creative recreation program that we're happy to host here in a couple weeks. So thanks for allowing me the time.
Yeah, it's all ages too, right, Cameron?
All
Anybody
ages.
can do it. Great.
Yeah,
It looks like
I
Melissa.
had a 14-year-old register today. So
Nice. Well, it looks like Melissa and the Journal want to register. So
okay.
keep it clean there, Melissa.
Oh, this is right up our alley.
That's
Art-
right. It's a
art
family.
kit.
It's got to be friendly, family friendly.
Family
appropriate
friendly.
artwork.
Friendly.
Yep.
So, Cameron, is this rain or shine?
Ooh.
You're jinxing it right now, Becky. Now
Right,
it's probably gonna rain.
good,
You
Becky.
shouldn't have said
It's
anything.
chalk. It's
hoping
chalk.
we
get
No
rain.
rain.
If we did get
Rain
rain, we
doesn't hurt.
probably either postpone it. If we did get rain, we'll postpone it. And if people want a refund, then we can reimburse them. We can refund them their money. So
Well, you never know. You get the June thing, but you have to ask these questions. It's humble.
yep.
And it is in the forecast.
Right.
It is or isn't.
It is.
Right.
Oh, well, go figure. But
I
it'll be
know
a
there's
nice
a little
day.
bit of rain in this weekend's forecast. but
weekend,
I don't know
yeah.
Oh,
about
this weekend, not the 19th.
Here,
No, no.
Pops has a bunch
Yeah.
of 10 by 10 tents. If you needed them, then you
Oh.
can put the tents over the 10 by 10
Over.
squares.
Oh
be
yeah,
fun.
give them a little bit of shade.
Burn,
Yeah.
Merritt, burn.
So
Shade.
really, people only have 2 hours to complete their.
Yeah, they have to go
You're gonna have
fast.
to work relatively swiftly. I'm hoping by 11:45 everyone's done, and then we can wrap it up and give everybody their prizes by noon, and it'll be short and sweet. But I think it'll be pretty cool to add a little bit of color and flavor to Newburgh Park sidewalk there.
Hey Cameron,
Yeah.
is that flyer available on the website?
It's not
It's
on the
on
website, but
Facebook.
it's on our Facebook page.
Okay.
You can go to Fortuna Parks and Rec, and you'll see it on our Facebook page. You can share
Okay.
that. That'd be great.
We'll share it a little bit later too.
All right. Well, thanks, Cameron. Are there any other announcements from anybody today?
I got a business reopening announcement.
Do tell. What's up?
Well, I ran into the manager of the Fortuna Theater over the weekend, and they have set a reopening date of the 25th of June for the Fortuna Theater with up to 5 screens and possibly for reopening 5 different movies. So it should appeal
wow.
to the broad section of the public. So it's something to look forward to go see a movie right here in our hometown.
Yeah, there's some two good movies that just came out or are coming out. Cruella and A Quiet Place 2, which I will wait for the
Which is
DVD.
weird. Yeah. Well, that's great. Any other announcements? Anything else going on? Melissa, you must have something or 5.
I got a
Go
couple.
for it. Okay,
Alright.
go for it.
You guys neglected to say that rodeo tickets are on sale. They started on Friday. You can buy tickets to the barbecue, the bulls and broncs, and the rodeo and
Gladiators, all of it.
gladiators. Yeah, you can buy it all.
Okay.
So you can go to the rodeo website, or you can go to the journal website, or you can go to northcoasttickets.com. So 3 different ways to buy tickets. Also, the journal team's working on the program for the rodeo. So if you guys see Brian or any of the crew, flag them down. They are having a hard time getting to the right person at the stores. They got a good group already, but Brian said, everyone wants it. I just can't get in front of them. So I told them I would spread the word today during the meeting to flag them down if you want an ad. And then my final thing is please go on and vote now for your favorites in our best of competition. We have a lot of great representation from Fortuna and the South. Denise Marshall, apparently you have a fantastic parking lot over there because the Dean Lucas Center is on the top 3 for best parking lot. We've got Becky Giacomini with the best do-gooder, and now that I see Merritt, I need to know why we don't have best city manager. So he's not next year, it looks like. So
A write-in.
Next year.
That's very cool.
yeah.
Oh, back to the rodeo tickets. Do you know, are they selling tickets on site on the event itself, or do you have to have
well,
a ticket?
Just like everything else that changes by the moment, 2
Yeah.
weeks ago, Shannon told me that they could not do any tickets at the gate. And then last week he goes, I think we'll have tickets at the gate. So
Yeah.
by the time rodeo gets here, I'm almost confident to say they will be selling 100% tickets at the gate.
Okay. Yes, I just noticed that because I've seen both different ways. So yeah, hopefully we'll have a definite answer
I
on
mean,
that.
to really help the rodeo association out, I encourage everybody to buy those tickets early. It's a lot more easier. You don't have to fumble with money. It's just
Yeah.
boop, boop, and you're right through.
Makes
Sounds
it
good.
easier for the barbecue too, because you have an idea
Yeah.
how much supplies
Yeah.
you need.
Exactly. Well, as you said, it's going to be changeable for sure. It's a month away, a month and a half. So yeah, we got a little time, but
I mean,
okay. Any other?
it sounds like hops is going to happen too. So we're finalizing stuff as we get closer, but that will probably be happening too. Just at
Well,
a later-
I guess we'll know for sure next week because you're the presenter.
well,
Yeah, that's right. You're going to tell us everything. So
On Wednesday.
okay.
God only knows what will be in her presentation. So I encourage everyone to tune in.
You might get a good following on that day. That's good. Anything else happening? Anybody else want to throw out anything? Okay, well, let's get to our speaker. Jonathan Herrera is going to talk to us about CalSavers. You're on, Jonathan.
CalSavers, that's right. Thank you, Becky, so much. Let me see if I can pop my slides up here. There we go. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. So Becky asked me when we started if I was based in Fortuna, and I unfortunately had to say no because I'm in Sacramento, based out of the state treasurer's office. But after hearing all the cool stuff that you guys have going on over the next few months, I'm thinking a relocation might be in order. So thank you so much for the opportunity to hang out with you guys this afternoon and give this opportunity to share this important information about how California is working to address the retirement access gap here in our state, but most importantly, address the state's new retirement mandate, which I think is really important for employers to know about. So for those of you who aren't familiar, CalSavers is California's new retirement savings program designed for the millions of Californians who don't have a way to save for retirement at their job. It was created by legislation passed back in 2016 that requires California employers who do not sponsor a retirement plan and have 5 or more employees to participate in CalSavers, which is designed as an automatic enrollment individual retirement account, an IRA, with no fees for the employer or fiduciary liability. Let me also say that, we know that businesses right now are facing unprecedented challenges. We're hoping that there's some light at the end of the tunnel here with the state reopening, but we want employers to know that we are here offering extra support and flexibility. But at the same time, we are proud to be promoting the program during this period because I think now more than ever, we see how vital it is for workers in the state to have financial resiliency, both in the short and long term. And that's what CalSavers is designed to do. And I think that with so many people working to overcome the setbacks that were caused by the pandemic, we've been talking to a lot of employers who are trying to figure out what their role is in helping their employees, improve their financial wellness and save for the future. And I think that, offering some sort of retirement savings program is probably, the most obvious way for employers to get involved in that relationship. So let me talk a little bit about some background on the program. We'll talk about this new mandate. I know we hate the M word. And then we'll talk a little bit about what the program's all about and what employers are required to do. But I think the best place to start is by just talking a little bit about the background and what the situation is that the state was trying to address when they created this program. What it comes down to is nearly half of Californians are projected to retire into economic hardship if they can retire at all. And we think that, a key driver of that fact is that there's 7.5 million Californians who are going to work every day, playing by the rules, but lack access to a workplace-based retirement program. And that's important because the research also shows that workers are 15 times more likely to be saving and on a path towards retirement security if they have access to a simple payroll deduction vehicle at work. And that's what our program is all about. So knowing that the best way to get folks saving and on a path towards retirement security is through the workplace, this Senate bill that created our program back in 2016 also created a new mandate for California employers. I mentioned it briefly at the beginning, but this is probably the most important takeaway for my visit here. And that mandate says that any business in the state of California that has at least 5 employees, if that business is not sponsoring a retirement savings program, then they need to register for CalSavers and facilitate, our programs for their employees. So we're measuring your number of employees by looking at the number of employees that you report to EDD on your DE9C every quarter. And we look at the previous 4 quarters for each calendar year and we average them out. So if your average is more than 5 or more, then you'll be subject to this new mandate. But we're looking at all California W-2 employees, so it doesn't matter if they're part-time, full-time, seasonal. If you're reporting them to EDD, they count towards your average. And then as far as eligibility for employees, we wanted the program to be as inclusive as possible. So any W-2 employee who's 18 years or older and has a social security number or an ITIN can participate and, should be given access to the program if they want it. But again, you'll notice there's no carve out for part-time, full-time, seasonal. They'll all need to be included and given the opportunity to participate. We always like to note that we don't see ourselves as competing with or replacing employer-sponsored plans. As I mentioned, the goal of the legislation was to create access, was to address this access gap in the state. So if we see employers taking advantage of private sector plans, or more importantly, if we see innovation from the marketplace, cheaper, better plans for employers, then that's a good thing. And if employers take advantage of that, then that's, again, a win for employees. So we talked about this mandate. Mandates always have compliance deadlines. So let's talk about those really quick. The first compliance deadline for businesses with more than 100 employees passed last year was September 30th, 2020. The next compliance deadline is coming up pretty quickly, just 4 weeks from now. Businesses with more than 50 employees will need to register or exempt themselves if they've begun to offer a plan from the private market. And then most importantly, the last deadline is next year, June 30th, 2022 for businesses with 5 or more employees. And we're looking at a couple 100,000 employers in that last deadline. So, we're really trying to get out to chambers and other business groups to try to see if there are ways that we can spread the word and encourage folks to register early or exempt themselves early so that we could smooth out that onboarding process for everybody. For employers with less than 5 employees, I'm sure we've got some of you on the webinar today. You're exempt from the mandate, so you don't have to worry about it. But we did open the program for individual participation. So if employees of very small businesses wanted to sign up on their own, they can. Or if you yourself happen to own a small business that isn't eligible, you can go to calsavers.com and set up your own account whenever you'd like. In Fortuna, we've identified more than 200 employers with more than 2,000 employees. So, potentially big impact for a city like Fortuna. We're excited to get you folks on board and saving. Next, let's talk a little bit about what we had in mind in designing the program. One of the first things we did when the legislation passed was gather a group of stakeholders, which included chambers and industry associations and small business owners themselves. And what we wanted to know from small business owners in particular was, what is it about programs on the existing market that make it difficult for employers to offer retirement savings to their employees? And over again, we heard the same 3 hurdles. It's the administrative burden, it's the fees, and it's the fiduciary liability. Employers don't want to take that on for themselves. So that's exactly what we had in mind when we created the program. We tried to make it as easy as possible for employers to facilitate. There are no fees for employers, so the only cost for employers is going to be a little bit of administrative time that'll go into adding this to your payroll process. But we've registered more than 11,000 businesses so far. And most of them are reporting super easy, doesn't add any extra time to their payroll because it's just another line deduction. And then of course, employers are not fiduciaries of the program. So you're not taking on any of that legal responsibility for the operation of the program, all of which you would if you had a traditional 401k or similar plan. All of that responsibility falls on, our small staff here at the state treasurer's office, the board that I work for, chaired by the state treasurer, and of course, the companies that we've contracted with to run the program with state oversight. So really quickly, I just want to talk about what employers will need to do if they do decide to register for our program, as opposed to offering something from the private market. Obviously, you need to register by your state required deadline and take a few minutes to set up your account. That's really simple process. Employers are telling us this takes less than 15 minutes. You just set up a username and password and tell us a little bit about how you do your payroll at your office. Employers are required to maintain a roster of employees with the program. That's how the automatic enrollment feature of this program works. And then employers, of course, will need to submit their employee contributions with each pay period as part of their existing payroll process for those employees that do decide to participate in the program. Because, of course, participation for employees is completely optional. And those are really the only two ongoing responsibilities for employees. You maintain that roster, so when you hire new folks, you add them to your list of employees. You can mark them as, you can deactivate them if they leave if you want to, and then you'll just continue to submit employee contributions for those employees that decide to participate as part of your existing payroll process. I already mentioned a few things that employers will not experience. Again, there's no fees for employers, there's no fiduciary responsibility for employers, and employers are not allowed to make contributions to their employee accounts. So this is a key difference, between CalSavers and a plan that you might get on the private market. Some programs on the private market require employers to offer contribution to their account. I'm thinking, like a simple IRA. 401ks, for example, you have the option of doing a match. So if that's something that you as an employer are looking for, that'll be a good option because CalSavers does not allow it. And then just really quickly, a few things employers shouldn't do: encourage participation in the program or discourage it. Employers shouldn't be providing investment advice or talking about investment options, processing distributions, or making any of the changes their employees need to make. We did that on purpose because we wanted to alleviate some of the traditional employer responsibilities when an employer's sponsoring their own plan. So any change that your employees have to make, they can do it directly with the program, and then we'll communicate the important changes to the employer before the next payroll. So again, the goal was to make it as easy as possible for employers to do this if they do register. So last thing I wanted to mention was what it looks like for your employees, because I'm sure a lot of you might be concerned about what this means for your employees. The program is all built around an automatic payroll deduction IRA. So just like any IRA that you can get at your local bank or financial institution, key difference here, we're working with you as the employer to facilitate their enrollment in the program and then facilitate their automatic payroll contributions. Because again, research shows if you make it that easy at the workplace, then people will save and will participate. Again, it's completely voluntary for employers, so they can opt out at any time or opt back in. We wanted to make the program as simple as possible for the employee too. So, enrollment is really easy. They can choose the standard settings, or they can customize from our very simple menu of options. The CalSavers program is completely portable for your employees. So if they happen to leave your business, they can keep their account. It goes with them wherever they go. If they end up at another CalSavers employer, they can continue to make contributions into their existing account, so they're not starting over like they might if they had a 401k or something like that. Or they can keep it or roll that money over into another plan if that's what they prefer. So all about saver choice, employee choice with this one. And then of course, I mentioned that there were no fees for employers. We do have a small fee for the participants, for the savers. That's how we cover the administrative and investment costs for the program. But depending on the investment that they choose, they'll pay between 83 cents and 95 cents for every $100 they have in their account per year. And then those fees will automatically go down as the program grows and reaches scale. So very competitive fees to start for the savers, but they'll automatically go down as we get this program off the ground. Which we're excited to say is happening pretty quickly. So last thing I'll leave you with, I know this is being recorded. Hopefully, if it's okay with the chamber, I can give you guys a copy of the slides to distribute to the members. But all of our contact information is here. We've got a great website available 24 hours. Got all the tips and templates and frequently asked questions and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes you don't want to deal with the website. Sometimes you just want to pick up the phone and talk to somebody. We've got great customer service team, dedicated lines for both employers and savers. They're answering the phone in less than 30 seconds these days. So you can pick up the phone and talk to someone 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We've got English and Spanish speakers on the phone and access to a language line, so we can work with folks in any language they feel comfortable. And then, we're very strong believers that no employer needs to go through this journey on their own. So we've got a really great field team. I've got an individual based in Northern California. His name is Shane, whose job it is to work with employers one-on-one to, help them get on board. He can do presentations for employees so that they understand what their options are and what this means for them, and a dedicated onboarding team. So we can work one-on-one with employers to help them, get the program started and keep them in compliance to this new requirement, we're also offering for employers webinars at least 3 times a week, open to the public and free. So if my short presentation here has sparked some interest, we do some detailed ones at least 3 times a week, and you're welcome to join us. CalSavers.com events is where to go. But that's the super high level overview. Thank you again so much for the opportunity to join you today. It is really important that we get out in front of employers as early as possible so that you have the time to look into your options and decide, what type of plan is best for you and your business and your employees. But I'm happy to answer any questions. And of course, you guys will all have my email. If you have any follow-up questions or want to get connected with us, feel free to reach out. But thank you again.
Thank you. Any questions? Renee, do you have anything?
I have a couple.
Okay.
I
Go.
always have questions. So if an employer, obviously the employer needs to opt out, and they can only opt out if they already have a plan in place, correct? So what
That's right.
about the employee? Like, what if I'm an employee and I thought I had read somewhere that employees come in at an 8% deduction. Is that the standard? Then they have to go in and physically change it, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the program is designed as automatic enrollment. So if they don't opt out, they do get automatically enrolled, but the default contribution rate starts at 5%. But it does feature what we call automatic escalation. And this is probably where you're getting the 8% number from. So we automatically bump up people's contribution rate 1% every year until it reaches 8%. And then we'll stop. But that is completely optional. So, we reach out to employees when they're signed up. We send them an email in December because the annual escalation takes place in January. So we send them a message in December saying, hey, your rate's about to go up if you don't change it. And actually, more than 95% of the folks who had that happen last year stuck with it. So it seems to be working. The idea is, you get them started, and then you sort of nudge them so that they get a little bit better in making contributions and have a better chance at, achieving a bigger nest egg when they reach retirement age.
And as far as the first deadline, that was last year in the midst of COVID. So how did that go with your 100 plus employees? And what's the repercussion to an employer who forgets to sign up by the deadline?
That's another great question. So, we ended up postponing that deadline. It was originally June 30th of 2020, but, with everything going on, the board decided, to give folks extra time. And, at the beginning, I said, we're here to support employers with extra support and flexibility. So we haven't started charging employers who are in that first deadline the penalties for noncompliance. There are penalties. It's $250 per employee if you've been out of compliance for 90 days. And then if you're out of compliance for an additional 90 days, that fee goes up to $500 per employee. So you can imagine in that first wave, there could be some potentially pretty big bills. But again, we've delayed actually charging folks. We've been doing our best to reach out directly to those employers and try to get them in compliance before, because that's really the goal, is to get folks registered or exempted if that's the appropriate thing. And we've tried to make it as easy as possible so that, when folks are faced with that, it'll be easier for them to just register and start facilitating than it would be for them to pay the bill.
And do you know if this bill, was that just passed through the legislature? It wasn't a voter initiated?
Right. It was passed through the legislature. The final version of the bill, because there was an early version that required a feasibility study and, created a board and all that kind of stuff. But the final version was in 2016. And so it took us about 1.5 years to get the program off the ground. And then we started rolling out these compliance deadlines.
Great. And then for 5 or more employees, that's next June 30th, correct?
Right. So if you have between 5 and 50 employees, you'll have until next June. But again, we're encouraging employers to register early because, there's a really big number of employers that's in that last deadline. So if we could smooth out that number, it'll be a better experience for employers. But also it gets you in compliance early and it gets your employees saving earlier, which is a good thing.
Mike Losi, I see your hand is raised. Take it away, sir.
Yes, thank you. Renee, I do have a question for Jonathan. So I'm a little bit confused as to exactly what the program CalSavers does. Are you a state investment agency that is competing with private investment companies, or are you just a facilitator for these employers and employees to funnel money to private investment companies, or exactly what is CalSavers' role?
That's another great question. So we've designed the program as a public-private partnership. So we are not holding or investing employee money. I work for a 9-member public board who's tasked with oversight of this program. And then one of the things that we did early in the program design was contract out for the administration of the program and for the investment management of the program. And of course, when we did that, we followed the state procurement law. We had a bidding process where we, invited program administrators and investment managers to bid on the work, and we chose them based on, their ability to run a program like this and their experience and the cost for the employees. So that's the state's role and the way the partnership functions.
Okay, so the money that gets saved from employees, where exactly does that money end up? Does it end up in the state? Does it end up with private investment companies, or exactly where does that money end up?
Private investment companies. So we have 5 investment options available. 4 of those investment options are managed by State Street Global Advisors. And then the 5th one is Newton Investments, which is a part of BNY Mellon. But the state at no time holds or has access to the money. That money is with the investment managers. And again, we at the state have no access to those accounts.
So happy to hear that. Thank you, Jonathan.
I was going to say the same, Mike. That's a good thing. So just to follow up on that, just the individual employee, they don't have any say in how the investments are made. Is that correct? I mean, it just goes into a big pool.
No. So we have, they do have some control. So we have a menu of 5 investment options that are available for them to choose from. So, they get to select from one of those 5, and then that's where it would go. And, this is where we're starting. As the program grows, we might open that up and have additional options available. But, our goal was to try to keep it simple at first. A lot of the experts that we went to for advice said, if you overwhelm people with too many options, then you get intimidated, they might decide not to participate. So we figured 5 options that sort of operate on the spectrum of aggressive to conservative was a good place to start.
Great. Okay, any other questions?
Just a quick
This was great.
question.
Oh,
Yeah, go
yes.
ahead, Denise.
I didn't know if you had a number for the state that have less than 5 employees, like how many employees that might be. Do you happen to have any kind of a number on that?
I don't. We've been focusing only on the data that for those eligible employers, but I'd imagine there's a very large number. The vast majority of employers in the state are very small businesses. So
those folks still wouldn't be part of this program, and I'm just thinking about them. Okay, thank you.
Right. Yeah, unfortunately, the legislature set that at 5 or more, but that is why we open the program for individual participation. So if folks do work for an employer that's not eligible, they can go to calsavers.com and start their own account. If CalSavers looks appealing to them.
Oh, I missed that. Great. Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Oh, this is great information. I had no idea really about this program, so it's wonderful. So, well, we appreciate you coming in, and you do need to come to visit in Fortuna. We'll show you a good time, but we appreciate you zooming in from Sacramento. So we are a friendly city, and we have lots going on. So anyway,
Yeah.
Anything else, Renee, for the good of the cause?
No, I think that's everything for now. Hopefully everybody will tune in tonight for city council presentation. Support the chamber.
Yeah.
Okay.
Support the chamber is right.
See some exciting things happening in Fortuna and what's to come. We're very excited. So hopefully everybody can tune in. Yeah.
Well, thanks everyone. Have a great afternoon and bring out more sunshine. It's getting gloomy here. So, all right.
Yeah.
We will
Thank
see you
you.
next week and
Thank you,
listen about
Renee.
hops. Hops and
Yes,
Huckle.
and
Woohoo.
and whatever else Melissa comes up with. So
Yeah,
we're
I'm sure it'll be
excited.
something.
Yeah.
All right,
Cool.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks
Bye-bye.
everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
Jonathan. Bye everybody.
Bye.